The honourable member for Winnipeg Centre.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'll be splitting my time with the member from Churchill-Kiiwetinoong-Aski. Madam Speaker, the pandemic has made it very clear we are not all in this together. We are living in a growing corporate dictatorship where some of us are on lifeboats and some of us are sailing on yachts, where the privileges of corporations are increasingly usurping the rights of workers, Mother Earth, individuals, and families, where the divide between the haves and the have-nots is growing in favor of an ultra-wealthy who are becoming richer by the minute, while more and more people are finding it increasingly difficult to survive. And meanwhile, Madam Speaker, many of my constituents are barely able to make rent. The rising cost of food is making food insecurity even more common, and the most basic human rights continue to be up for debate in this House while this government continues to reward their corporate friends on the backs of people, including my constituents in Winnipeg Centre. And workers, real wages are falling, and Canadian billionaires, they are becoming richer, including a $78 billion annual increase in their wealth a year after COVID began. An unprecedented pandemic that has left more and more people scrambling to survive. And this increase in their wealth has been generated with a complete disregard for human rights, including the rights of workers. Take, for example, Sobeys, one of Canada's largest grocery chains and a parent company, Empire, who got rid of their $2 an hour pandemic hero pay, like Loblaws and Metro. Hero pay, Madam Speaker, for workers who put their lives on the line during the pandemic so people could continue to be fed. And adding insult to injury, Madam Speaker, most Sobeys stores are not even unionized. They are a company that has fiercely and fearlessly resisted organizing efforts, showing a total disregard for the rights of workers. And this disregard for workers by Sobeys was not because they wanted to keep food costs down for consumers. In fact, people are paying more for groceries than ever, 6.5% grocery inflation, Madam Speaker, the highest in more than a decade. And it's because of greed. Uncontrolled greed, with CEOs laughing all the way to the bank. Sobeys just reported a quarterly profit of $203.4 million, up from $176.3 million last year, and they are not the only ones laughing. In fact, Loblaws saw its fourth quarter profit more than double compared to last year, with its net earnings available to common shareholders rising to $744 million. And Metro Grocery reported net profits of $207 million at the end of 2021. Uncontrolled greed, with no shame, as we witnessed from Sobeys President and CEO Michael Medline, who boasted on a conference call in December about how much money they were raking in, stating, in quotes, "It was a straight-up good quarter, well executed by our teams across the country." Madam Speaker, it wasn't a straight-up good quarter for my constituents who shop at Freshco on Sargent Avenue, struggling to put food on the table because every trip to the grocery store is more expensive than the last. It wasn't a straight-up good quarter for workers who had their hero pay taken so that CEOs could line their very deep pockets with more cash. Madam Speaker, our economic system is rigged. Corporate greed with wealth born on the backs of individuals and families. That is even impacting their ability to have their most basic human rights respected, including the right to food security. Seriously, Madam Speaker, workers and consumers are seeing no benefits from the major grocery chains' record profits that are rising because prices are rising. Profits that are growing because they are cutting workers' pay and sometimes even violating their human rights. including the profits that were made possible by the many migrant farm workers who grow the food that are sold in these stores. Some of the most exploited and mistreated workers in the country. In fact, last December, Madam Speaker, the Auditor General found that this government failed to protect migrant farm workers during COVID-19, revealing that the federal department responsible for keeping them safe did not properly enforce health and safety measures related to the pandemic. At least 3 migrant farm workers died from COVID, and many more got sick. The Liberal government willfully turning a blind eye to this human suffering is unacceptable, demonstrating time and time again that they are way too close to their corporate friends. And what has the Liberal government done to require large companies like Sobeys, Loblaws, and Metro that have earned windfall profits during the pandemic to share this wealth with workers and communities, to ensure the human rights of workers are upheld? Nothing. In fact, this government has yet to implement a tax on excess profits of banks and insurance companies, despite promising to do so in the last election. Mr. Speaker, what are they waiting for? Madam Speaker, they need to immediately implement the 3% surtax and expand it to include big grocery chains, big box stores, and big oil companies that continue to record record profits. Because, Madam Speaker, we need this revenue to make life easier for individuals and families who are struggling to afford to live with the skyrocketing cost of living. If we could fund it could fund, for example, Madam Speaker, a new and expanded income support programs for seniors, students, people with disabilities, and individuals with complex mental health needs and trauma who are some of the hardest hit by these price increases. It could pay for a national school meal program which would ensure that no child ever has to attend class on an empty stomach. It could help fund a guaranteed livable basic income like the one I'm proposing in Bill C-223. Madam Speaker, it is clearer than ever that we are not all in this together. So many people are just trying to survive at this point, while the wealthy elite have never had it so good. They're in their luxury yachts and rocket ships, while more and more people are surviving in lifeboats. Enough is enough. It is time to grow workers' paychecks and not CEO bonuses and shareholder dividends. It is time for the biggest corporations that have made a killing during the pandemic to pay their fair share. It is time to put people before profits and give people who are struggling the support they need to survive, not just to survive, but to thrive. And it's time for all people to have what they need to live in dignity. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Questions and comments. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government.